What's up, guys? Back with another one. I'm Ryan, my man George.
What's poppin', guys? How you living out there?
Lost in Vegas, coming back at you with an unbiased real reaction,
Right.
baby.
Shout out to our free thinkers, of course.
And our patrons, another early access video.
Yeah, Saxon, Princess of the Night.
Yeah, man.
All right, so this was a pretty decent sized request. We looked on our heavy metal map, and it looks like Saxon came in the game around 76.
Yeah, man.
That's pretty early, and it looks like this was
Absolutely.
under new wave British heavy metal. So these guys are from Britain, I believe. So pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
This was probably the biggest request out of all of them, based off of what we saw in the comments and again across all of our platforms.
Right.
This seemed to be the one that came up a little bit more frequently than the others. So let's give him a shot. Saxon, Princess of the Night.
She used to be an iron horse 20 years ago. Used to bring the mail to me through the ice and snow. 90 tons of thunder lighting up the sky. She was the princess of the night. We saw the writing on the wall. I take a ride across the sky. Speeding smokestack lightning, engine working hard. Furnace on the footplate, shining in the night. It's all I ever want to hear. It's music to my ears. She was a princess of the night.
Yeah, that was a solid solo.
Yeah.
Man, he was going off.
Yeah, man.
Let's keep it going.
If I ever had my way, I'll bring the princess back one day. She was a princess of the night. I take a ride across the sky. Sky.
You know, Ryan, I go back and forth with just my thoughts on how we've approached venturing into this rock and metal field. You know what I mean? Genre of music.
Right.
And what I mean by that is in terms of just how we've approached it with what songs we've done from what years, you know, at what time we've done those songs. Sometimes I'm thinking like, man, would we have appreciated older songs had we done them in bigger chunks and just stuck with older music for a while and then slowly but steadily progress to newer metal. I go back and forth with it because sometimes I think songs like this probably would have been appreciated a little bit more. Maybe I would have appreciated songs like this a little bit more had it been done that way. But then again, I look back and I say, well, I really did enjoy Judas Priest, and I believe Judas Priest was before these guys.
Yep.
You know, so does that mean that just Judas Priest just happens to make music that I feel is a little bit more timeless?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, but I just wonder that because I listened to this song and I know that these guys, I'm sure, have inspired, you know, a lot of bands that we probably love.
Of course, yeah.
But it just didn't necessarily grab me. It was maybe just the subject matter. I mean, it looks like the song is about a train, and I'm sure that was an important train, and I'm sure this song was an important song. But it didn't grab me in 2018.
Right.
And then I think the vocals were a little monotone. We are the princess of the night. Like it was
a little flat.
A little flat to me.
It was a little flat, yeah.
And you know, but I think the song really picked up towards the end. That solo at the end, even the mid solo was great, and I love the solo at the end. I love the energy that came out of that towards the end. But overall, the song didn't grab me, and I'm just trying to understand: did it not grab me because it probably is at a disadvantage because of when we've heard this song, or is it because it just didn't grab me because it just doesn't have that timeless quality like Judas Priest? I don't know. I'm just giving you guys our thoughts.
I get it, yeah, and I agree with you, man. I agree with you. I did think it sounded a little flat and dull at points, but one thing that I really liked was the main riff that I thought that I've heard that done in other songs, so I can guarantee that people have gotten that from here.
them.
You know what I mean? So I like that part of it. So there is moments of shine. Like again, the solo, dope. I really like that a lot too.
And we probably heard that, but it was probably maybe a little bit richer.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
of
Yeah.
the advances in technology. It is what it is. You know, so it's kind of like, it's unfortunate because we heard that, but it came from them.
Yeah.
But we heard it at probably maybe a different level.
Right,
you know?
right. Exactly. You know, so well said. I just think at times it just sounded a little dull.
Yeah.
Sounded a little flat, you know, and to your point, man, the solos picked up. At the end, the first solo was dope. You're right, that was dope. But the end, I think it kind of brought it all home and kind of gave it the grand finale type of effect.
Yeah.
So I thought that was super cool. But,
It's not. This is definitely not a bad song at all. But it just kind of came off a little dull and flat to us. And I think it's because, like I said, we've heard other music that I feel probably took a lot of elements from this group and maybe just kind of maybe taking it to a different level in terms of the richness and the depth of the music.
To your point, as songs have kind of progressed and coming closer to 2018, it just sounds, and I don't know if this is correct, but this is what it sounds like to me. It sounds like the drumming has escalated to the 10th power. Now.
The sound of the clarity in it.
Not only that, but just the intricacies of it, the difficulty level, you know?
But then there's Rush, though.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
And then there's Rush. See, that's what I'm saying.
That's true, you're right,
We go back to the teacher, the professor. You know what I mean? Neil Peart. Neil Peart was extremely skilled. You know what I mean? And that was back then, and they were earlier on.
That's true, yeah.
So it's like, can we really...
Touché, my friend.
Can we not hold these guys, accountable for the time? I don't know. And that's what we struggle with. We're like, do we not enjoy this as much because it sounds a little dated to our ear because we just weren't born around that time and we can't really understand the full impact of it? And I believe that is true to an extent. Or because maybe it's just other bands that we've heard that came before them that just did this at a higher level, and this just doesn't really compare. It's tough. It's tough.
It is
guys,
tough.
You gotta, when you were watching our videos, for those of you who are new to this channel, you guys have to understand, this is not music that we grew up with. This is music that we're listening to in 2018. It's not the same sort of attachment that we're gonna have to it that you did, because you've heard this probably your entire life. You have to understand that. So I get, like, people get like, they take it so personally. You gotta put yourself in our shoes and understand that we've heard Metallica, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, who's fucking amazing, who's way before they were the first.
Yeah, that's true.
But yet this, and we have that as sort of a benchmark. So now we're like, okay.
Yeah, Black Sabbath is dope.
Dude.
Yeah, you're right.
And they came before them. So can we use the dated thing? If we heard a band that came before them and we love that band, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's all we want you guys to understand. So, it was just, not going on the playlist, but we got to give respect to them. We appreciate them laying the foundation for other bands, to come through to do their thing as well. So, but that's it. That's the interview, guys. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And also check out our Patreon channel, guys. If you're interested, you'll get early access to our content. The link will be in the description. This is Lost in Vegas. George Ryan. We out.